Round and round, everyone. The theme song for the last, I would say, month.
Yeah, it's been ramping up.
Ever since everyone started getting, a sniff of all of this circular stuff. Round and round. Right? Hey, everyone. Welcome to IoT Coffee Talk. Yeah. Let me see if I can get this to regular sound mode here on Zoom, because Zoom really, oh my gosh. Yeah, and fair warning, I am really, really tired. I got stuck in Dallas yesterday. Almost didn't get home. Like, they canceled probably about 80% of the flights yesterday. So there's a lot of folks who are stranded in Dallas at the moment. And today, they're frantically trying to get home. And a shout out to all the air traffic controllers and all of the airport and airline staff who I'm sure were not having a good day. And, shame on, the government for shutting down the government and putting all these people in that situation, everyone.
Difficult situation, yeah, for sure. Wow.
Yeah. So, that was a nonpartisan statement. Obviously, we will get censored on YouTube for making it, especially. No, you get blocked if there's any kind of political, especially in Europe. So, yeah, there's some.
Well, but the thing is the following. I mean, it is this is not the way I position it. I mean, the issue is that if there are internal politic issues, no internal politic issue should block essential services, is my point. Whether you have ideas on the right, on the left, I mean, okay, fine. It's a fair debate. This is what the democracy is.
Yeah.
Democracy should have a sort of standard level of services, public services.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that actually operates because it's beneficial for everybody, for the business, for the people. Whether you're a rightist or a leftist, and if you have to move, you need plane, you need air traffic controllers. So it just...
yeah, exactly. But we're about technology. We're not about that stuff and the things that are around the periphery of technology. And we can talk about, not politics, but government, right? And their impact on technology and policy and stuff like that. But anyways, I think it's pretty obvious that all of our stuff gets scanned. We live in a surveillance society, yeah. So it's pretty much a done deal, sadly, right? But yeah, welcome everyone, and remember to take it seriously at your own peril. We're here just to have fun, and don't make any kind of serious decisions based on anything that we say. And we hope you enjoy the banter. It goes on for a long time, but guess what? You know what? If you listen to IoT Coffee Talk on a weekly basis, it's a wonderful dose of reality, especially to cap off the week, that is typically filled with a lot of nonsensical, ridiculous hype. And so you can come here and we will distill everything down to something a hell of a lot more reasonable than anything that you're hearing or listening to out there. So anyways, we're glad that you're here.
We're here to encourage your critical thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the hardest we can.
In an age where critical thinking is diminishing, and there's more and more studies coming out about that, right? That students are basically succumbing to the convenience, and it's not that they're cheating. Cheating is different from deprivation, right? It's one thing to cheat, and cheating has its own unique issues, right? I mean, that's like basically gaming your own gaming education, right? In a bad way. But the use of LLMs, look at more and more of these papers. It's about cognitive deprivation. It's like you're depriving yourself of the exercise of developing your critical thinking. And so,
but and I've seen a number of these research, and I think we should always take those kind of studies with grain of salt as well, because the thing is the following: people always go the path of least resistance. Yeah. So if you freeze an existing system and say, "Oh, now there's these LLMs," and people go around the existing system with LLMs, yeah. Change the system. Change the system so that you drive the good behavior. So essentially, and that's one thing that you know me for my passion and my kind of opinions here. But I get very, very quickly upset, especially when it comes to education, because it is 100% the responsibility to adapt and adjust education to the tools and to the systems and to the innovation that exists.
But I think it's even with enterprise adoption of generative AI, which has been, I mean, now it's being very openly, talked about as being disappointingly lackluster in terms of adoption and value. That's exactly the problem. It's, and so as we look at what's happening right now, where people are starting to open their eyes about generative AI in a broad sense, including with the AI infrastructure stuff, and all these so-called deals, they're more like announcements. They're not deals, right? Everyone started off with the wrong assumption set for generative AI. It was completely wrong. And so this is why we end up in these places where expectations early on eventually just become massive disappointments. And then eventually people will disregard technology. And a great example, I just got back from, fortunately got back from Dallas. Jesus Christ. We had a chat about how, this sounds a lot like 5G, because we still have a lot of these telco tech companies that, try to smoke the next crack pipe. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, AI, all this stuff, now you're going to bank on this to float your company or do whatever the hell, you're going to run this race instead of looking at what's right in front of you. Right. And, 5G is a great example. There's all this great technology. Everyone created the worst expectations for these things, never did any of the critical thinking to figure out how would you actually apply these things in markets. And how would you deal with the brownfield, the stuff that already exists there, whether it's Wi-Fi or HART or other connectivity protocols out there and technologies? How do you approach those things? But instead, everybody just went bonkers with the 5G narrative, thinking that is going to solve everything. I mean, remember? Same with Open RAN. And, just
happened here.
Yeah. Oh no, I had some interesting conversations, and I did bring up Open RAN Squid Game.
Oh,
yeah. Well,
red light, green light for Maveneer.
Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of exactly. There are what am I famous for in the telco industry? Open RAN Squid Game, and look at what happened to them. And so everybody else had these massive forecasts about how Open RAN's going to take over everything, and now everyone's wondering if it's dead. It's like, is it dead? So, I mean,
But I think the thing is, Leonard, I do believe that, and I think we are in general totally aligned around over expectation. What is, I believe, different in this instance is that this is a technology. No, let me finish, please. This is a technology. It is different in what I'm trying to say is that it is different in the sense that it's going to be much more long lasting in terms of damage. And the reason I'm saying that is because it is not an exotic or nerdy or niche specialist thing like Open RAN or 5G. it is, and I keep on repeating that every single time here, it is about language. So people get, because if you want to say, oh, I'm going to save money with 5G because it's going to replace that, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go faster my transaction, 2 milliseconds and 5 milliseconds. This is an engineering thing. Here, the perception is, I talk to that thing replies to me and does something, and oh, it's much cheaper than a human.
No, but
but the perception again. I'm talking about the perception. You're talking to the thing. It's the first time you have a technology where you're talking to the technology, and the technology replies to you in language. It is a very, very profound impact.
But it all boils down to trust. How many times are you going to go back to that same thing when it ultimately lies to you because it's hallucinating? It doesn't know.
But Leonard, the whole world lies to you 100% of the time.
Not if you have deterministic expectations of the technology. No, they use it for non-deterministic applications like adult entertainment and all this other crap that, doesn't really lift your productivity.
Wait a second. Dimitri, are you saying that my new AI girlfriend is going to be lying to me?
No. I'm saying that your existing human girlfriend already lies to you.
No, they don't.
No, but that's the point, guys. First of all, if you still, if you have an informed conversation amongst friends, yeah, you can probably decipher what is right and wrong. Okay.
No.
But if you listen to everything around you in the world right now, from all the sources, there's how much lies from human that there's lies from AI. Come on.
No, you know what? Look, even humans, if they keep lying to you, you don't trust them anymore. It's like going back to the girlfriend. Like, if you smell, your girlfriend or your wife is going to, oh my God, Rob, what was that?
But
Rob's going to lie. He's going to say, oh, honey, that wasn't me.
It's that guy.
Yeah, it's that guy.
Again, I think
it's that guy on the other side of the bed. Yeah, come on. No, it boils down to trust. And, you trust tools that you trust tools that are reliable and meet the expectations. And so if your whole use case and your requirement is fantasy and it can fulfill it, yeah, sure, it's going to friggin' lie. It's going to say, oh my God, Leonard, you're so sexy. You're like more handsome than like friggin', some K-pop.
But Leonard, we live in the world of the few percent that actually think they have at least the critical thinking to be able to assess trust and decorticate whenever something or somebody talks to you. The vast majority does not do that. This is why advertising works. This is why we live in society where you bombard people with stuff and they believe it. So what I'm saying is that now it's becoming artificial and it's going to be at a scale that we don't imagine. And I'm saying it's going to get worse and worse and worse.
Well, yeah, it will. It will get worse because people apply generative AI for the intent of deceiving and doing and stealing. I totally think that is going to be the big frontier market. Cybercrime, like what we talked about, right?
Maybe we should lower the bar. And instead of the future fantasy thing about generative AI, maybe we just say, what do we agree on that it actually does well? And just have that and say, okay, we're okay. Like, we know that Claude is really good at writing code.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Check.
Yeah.
It's good at summarizing documents. If I upload a PDF, I can ask questions about it. It's pretty good at summarizing documents. Okay.
I had that conversation. So, remember last week we had a chat about the vibe coding, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you use it for, like, let's say a product manager or a product, product lead, it wants to ideate. It has an idea and they want to ideate. It's a great way of just framing, get some working code out there. They can test it, but it's not, it's never the final code, right? And we've already said this before. You're still going to go through an SDLC. It may be adapted for this, let's say, prototyping type process. but ideation, it's great for that. And, we see that even in a lot of the creative use cases in art, in music. It can be used as a prototyping and ideation tool, right? And that could entirely be a different flow from, let's say, a more deterministic production or design flow. Those things don't go away. You still need those tools, but that's where I see a lot of the benefit happening. But then also in analytics, in enhancing the data sets that are coming in, so contextualizing it, right? And then also with the models, enhancing models or whatever algorithm. But the thing is, you're not going to, in most cases, because of economics, you're not going to run it on GPUs or anything like that. You're going to be running it on traditional stuff because it's cheaper, right? So you might take something like an agentic flow and reduce it to a RPA workflow with an algorithm instead of having an LLM at the end of all the tooling. You're going to try to reduce the cost and actually codify whatever intelligence that you want to scale out or whatever automation you want to scale out. And so, I think, again, I'm outlining something that actually is going to be boring as hell for most people, but worst of all, for all the AI gearheads out there that have taken things overboard, it's not going to, or these infrastructure guys, it's not going to require a lot of GPUs. You're going to resort to other cheaper forms of computing.
But I think, Rob, I would actually take the counterpoint, because I think that the approach, using my same line of thinking, the approach of saying, oh, let's figure out what it's good at, it's not going to cut it. Because if you ask me, what is it good at? My answer is going to be, it's good at talking to you. It speaks the same language as you. It communicates with you with language. Again, I'm going to go back to that. So you can very well say, it's like a human. You're talking to it, but you don't know if you can trust it. You don't know if he's right. You don't know if he's wrong. You don't know if he's smoking something. You don't know if he has weird ideas. You don't know that. So now we're going to have to live in a world where you have those digital entities that actually communicates with you the same way you communicate to humans. They're going to scale in numbers, but you have no idea what's behind. And it's your job to investigate, to interrogate it, to understand what it's good at. But there is no silver bullet. It's good at that. It's bad at that. And the trouble, again, is it talks to you. I think that's, people don't realize how profound this is from an interface. This is the first technology we have where the interface is your natural language. This is why there's so much buzz to me around it.
Yeah. But, if I go beyond the summarizing, the reason I've been pushing this whole enterprise brain thing, and it is back to, hey, I kind of know what can it do more than what I'm saying? Sure. I think of it like a database, and it is a kind of a database. It's this vector thing. When I talk about the enterprise brain and I'm putting all the data from a company, all its documents, all its PDFs, spreadsheets, databases, tables, and suck it in there, all of a sudden, it does a great job of now it's like a select star from vector database where blah, 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 except it seems more natural. And like you say, it talks to you and everything like that. I think it's good at that. And I think there's value for organizations for something, because we do it today. Like we do queries on relational databases to get an answer to a question. And so when I think of it like that way, and I'll probably get fired for, lowering the bar so much on what I think AI is about, because everybody else is like, oh, it kicked ass on humanity's last exam and it's PhD level and all these things, and it's going to do this.
This is bullshit.
Well, the really smart people think it's not bullshit, but it doesn't mean they're right.
What defines smart?
I know PhDs from MIT, that's smart. Those are smart guys, and they live it day to day. And so when I hear them and they talk deeply about it, I don't think they're making stuff up. But in my mind, I was like, here's how my simple brain works. And it's just about a store of data and easily retrieving it, maybe more easily than a SQL statement. When they say, that AI, like latest ChatGPT 5.1 or whatever, let's just say it passes the MCAT so that it can go to med school, or it passes whatever medical exams. And so now it's as good as any doctor. People get excited about that. But at the same time, I go, well, wait a second. The reason it can pass the exam is because the new updated version of the models, you've pumped in all the questions and answers to every medical question ever made in history, and it's in the database. And so when it's looking at the test and having to answer the questions, probably with the help of a person, of course it gets 100% on the exam because the answers are already in its vector database. That's why people are like, it's amazing. But I was like, well, no, it scraped everything. That's why it seems so smart.
Rob, you exactly explain what I meant by bullshit. And that's why I said the people that say that are saying bullshit. By the way, I would oppose, if you see the Meta guys that actually left Meta to go work on another company who is really seeking, Lecan, what is real intelligence, that's a smart move. And it's a logical move. But what I've also said, because I've commented actually on that on LinkedIn, I think for a company like Meta, what those models do is fantastic.
No, you know what?
Because they influence people to buy some stuff. But is it real intelligence? No, it is. Now, I agree with you. If you point those trained models to knowledge that is created of good value, it is extremely effective and fantastic at distilling it and also finding misalignment in pattern. I use it for that myself in my everyday job. I have reference stuff, messaging documents, and every time I build marketing assets, I say, hey, check that across the messaging. And it's fantastic at that. So if you point, I think that the way it is, what is great at is actually distilling and giving you information about knowledge, assuming that knowledge is the good thing. Now, if you put bad knowledge, it will give you bad thing already, but it is consistent because it's by nature, it finds patterns. So it is consistent. It gives you consistency. You give him crap, it will give you crap. You give him not enough, it will hallucinate. You give him great, it will give you great. So it is a great tool, but again, you have to understand, the way to interact with it.
Yeah, and you said the words. The first step of AI is pattern matching. Machine learning, we're matching, and we did that with all our analytics actually. And so I remember thinking a great early use back to summarization and stuff, tie it into IoT is I might use analytics or if this then that, or maybe machine learning on a machine, and the machine, it says it's going to fail next Tuesday. I want to fix it before it fails. And here's what's wrong. And I'm a journeyman mechanic and I don't know how to fix it. But if for that particular machine, if I've uploaded the user manual and everything about that machine to AI and it's already got distilled, now I can take the information I got from my IoT system and plug it in there. And I've seen people do this and they go, oh, yes, when you see this problem, pattern matching again, right? Do you need to go take a screwdriver and do this and do that and replace this? And so kind of completing the problem, we found there's a problem. Now we got to solve it. And I'm an idiot, but AI can help me. Well, it's because it's been trained on the information about that machine. And so it helps you complete the task. And so, I think it's good for that stuff. I just don't know. We're still waiting for it to come up with new things. People are waiting for it to be brilliant on stuff we don't know yet.
Yeah.
When I hear the guys on Moonshot talking about we're going to solve maths, we're going to solve physics, we're going to solve everything, and then all of a sudden, all the secrets of the universe would be like, bing.
Yeah, not with the current tech. Not with the current tech. I totally agree with that. I think it's a great source of knowledge, and again, great at distilling stuff. So it's a fantastic tool. And this is, I'm with you on that. We had this conversation, I think, last week or the week before. What I'm personally fascinated is all those people you mentioned say, "Oh, it's going to solve all these problems we haven't solved as human." I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in something that actually gives me access to knowledge I don't have very quickly. I want to fix a problem. Something is very knowledgeable. I go to it. It helps me fix the problem. That's great.
But the problem is generalizing that because it takes a lot of work. What I'm seeing in all the research I've done in 3 years on this, the generative AI Genie, release is, it's a hell of a lot harder than that to get to good. And again, it boils down to trust and trustworthiness. And then underneath that, you have to have reliability. It has to be safe. and it has to be accurate, right? And sound. Those are really, really difficult to achieve for almost any application. So when you say knowledge, yeah, if it's just a guess, I wouldn't call it a knowledge base. It's a guess base. The thing is time and time again, the experts have been wrong. Okay. It doesn't matter whether or not they have a degree from MIT. There's exaggerations that have colored all the narratives. LLMs have fallen flat on their faces on their promises and the expectations. The scaling laws didn't work out. So what do they have to do? They had to move to MOE. Then next, in order to improve the accuracy, they had to move to these long thinking reasoning models, right? Which actually weren't improving on top of the LLMs. And then we realized that, oh, wow, this is like, these things can not only hallucinate, they can get into chains of confusion. And by the way, that chain of confusion thing that I observed early on is a real thing. And it impacts the economics of anything that anybody is imagining they can do with this stuff. The one thing that people haven't realized yet, and it definitely hasn't trickled up to Jensen Huang, is how expensive it is to do anything with this stuff. And so you have a lot of developers who are saying, this is not viable. And the illusion, there's this constant illusion and disconnect from reality, grounding, which always brings you back to the question of, can I trust this stuff? Right. And this, the people who think about this in a very shallow way, non-technical way, have not yet arrived at these questions or grounding realities, And so that's why everyone is so behind on IoT Coffee Talk, quite frankly, because a lot of the conversations we've had on the show have already addressed a lot of these things for the last 3 years since ChatGPT has come out. And, and these are not learning systems. And this is a huge misconception that I still hear a lot of people, make, is that they say these things are learning. No, they're trained. It's different. The cost of actually learning, having these things learn, is tremendously expensive. So these aren't learning systems. They don't learn merely remotely as quickly as humans do. Humans learn like that. These things, you got to friggin' send a data set, make sure that data set is kosher, and then run it through like millions of dollars of GPU hours in order to retrain the model. Then it learns. Think about how crappy that is, right? And then RAG and all this other stuff are proxies for learning. So it creates not only a illusion of thinking, illusion of creativity, also creates these additional constructs, create an illusion of learning, but they don't learn. The LLM does not learn, and that's the big problem. They can explore all kinds of constructs, and all of them are falling short.
Well, it does not learn the same way humans learn. It learns between versions of models. But you covered on different things.
Awesome. It's what makes humans awesome.
Yeah, I don't think. Let's not get into that because the fundamental problem you have.
I didn't say humanity. I said that's what makes humans as machines.
So specific humans might be functional. No, but what I'm saying, the problem is the trust. The problem with the trust argument, Leonard, is you can replace AI by human and you have the same question. So that's why I'm saying it doesn't resonate psychologically to people. You have the same problem with humans. How do I trust you? I trust you because you and I be on this for many, many different shows. But the random person in the street is the same thing with AI. So that argument, yes, it is important for people to understand. There's no disagreement on that. But it will not fly in convincing people that, you have to trust AI. Yeah, you have to trust people too. So, yeah. Okay. So Then you have the economic problem, which I'm totally with you. People don't realize how much it costs, money it costs, and how expensive those things are. And finally, the learning aspect is something probably we don't insist enough. Yes, it doesn't learn. It's trained, and it's statically trained between different versions.
No, but that's exactly the reason why you're going to have trouble using probabilistic systems to improve deterministic processes. The reason why you come up with those deterministic processes is create consistency in execution and quality, right? We strip out human as well as any other deterministic element, especially for any kind of scale out production, right? And the dilemma is how do you take a probabilistic element and introduce it into a Six Sigma process and expect Six Sigma at the end of that?
Well, I know the answer to that. I know the answer to that. You don't, and you're right on that.
That's what people are doing.
No, but
beating themselves over the head trying to make it work and wasting everyone's time. That's what I'm saying.
No disagreement with that.
Stop, man. Don't the argument.
But what I'm trying to say and my message is that we should spend more time explaining to people that those systems are not deterministic, rather than having philosophical discussion whether we could trust them or not. Because yes, we know we cannot trust them, the same way that we cannot trust humans. Now, what are they useful for is, and maybe Rob, I'm going back to your argument and what are they good at? So are they good at deterministic? No, not at all. Forget that.
No, that is why, but Rob wanted to take it down a level so that we can actually share with the audience what are some of the things that it's good at.
What they're not good at.
Summarization. Well, we talk a lot about what they're not good at, but to Rob's point, now let's flip it on its head. So what are we learning, right?
Like for instance, let's say that all new training and advancements and money being thrown at creating new models and new versions of Anthropic and everything else. What if it just stopped right now, today? And so what we got is what we got right now. And then you'd step back and say, was this worth it? Is it valuable? If we get nothing more, if we don't hit super intelligence, we don't hit AGI, could you still say, though, that there was some value in what we have today? And yeah, there is value. It can write code. It can summarize. It's a great store of information, like for reference and stuff like that. And maybe a few other things. Cause you're right. We do talk about, we spend so much time beating up on it, or trying to debunk other people who are saying it's the future and,
Oh, there's a lot of hype out there.
But yeah, it's PhD level at every one of these domains, that kind of thing. And it's like, maybe it's PhD level because you trained it on every all the data and all the books and everything that a professor would teach you in your doctorate class. And of course it's PhD level. Yeah. All the data got stuck in there. And so it knows the answers and the questions to every test. That's why it passed the test.
The calculator is the smartest thing in the world. If you think
absolutely. I'll take my TI 55 calculator any day over that, or my Casio with the solar panel on it.
That's true.
But that's the root cause to me. The root cause is that the expectation is that it will totally replace humans. This is the first time we have a tech that does that. In the past, it was always going to be a tool.
I don't know about that.
It will replace some humans. It will replace some humans. I mean,
guys, okay. Now let's cut the bullshit. Okay, let's look at the board of director MBA in the US. Increase revenue, reduce cost. Cut the people, reduce cost.
Sure. And there'll be some jobs that get eliminated because
what CEOs have been doing in the past 20 years is using the human workforce as a variable for that. Now they just want to use human because they can eliminate even more jobs. This is the perception.
Yeah.
The perception.
Yeah.
Because there is this illusion, and I attribute that predominantly because of its language interface, that it can really totally replace human. This is the first time, as opposed to, hey, calculators. We never say calculators are going to replace human. Well, this only flight for like a year or two. No, but
there were people that were calculators. They were calculators.
But it lasts. But the point is that it will not replace completely a human. It replaces tasks a human were doing.
Yeah,
that's my point. Replaces.
You know, so the early part of the space program, right? We had that was the what was that movie?
Computers.
Hidden Figures. They were calculators. They were computers. Yeah, and they just did the math.
Yeah, they were just African American and
the women that did all the calculations.
So they didn't want to.
They all got replaced with the computers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but my point is yes, there was this initial expectation, but we quickly realized with these technologies like the calculators that it will accelerate tasks.
Accelerate. They were good computers. Those women in the space program were great computers.
Yeah.
And as Steve Jobs says, what's a computer? A Mac. It's a bicycle for your mind. And so the word accelerating comes on. It does what you already know how to do, just faster.
Right.
Yes, but to your point, excellent point, Rob. But today, nobody is thinking AI is a bicycle, is a motorbike for your mind. Everybody is thinking AI will replace your mind.
Yeah.
And this is the flow. This is the flow.
But that's where we're going back to trust again. Trust is proven over time, and you can have misconceptions about a technology. At some point, you're going to get bitten in the ass, right? Like the 5G guys, like the Open RAN guys. All of them had some sort of, expectation, okay, an illusion about the technology, and it all largely fell flat on its face, right? To the point where now 5G was a strategic, critical technology that all governments needed to fund, and then all of a sudden, nobody gives a shit about it. I mean, you know how hard it is to talk about 5G? People laugh in your face. It's like crazy. Even the telcos, they don't give a shit about it. So, there's always a grounding. There's a slope of grounding that happens as
I keep hearing the term grounding, and now people tell me I'm supposed to take off my shoes and walk on grass, and apparently that's grounding as well. I don't know. I've heard that recently.
Well, for electrical reasons, that's a good idea.
Oh, okay.
Well, you can hold it on the higher, it's more effective.
Yeah. So we talk about, it's going to replace some people or some jobs, right? Like IoT, instead of people going and taking readings everywhere, now IoT is taking the readings and sending it back to the source of truth.
Yeah.
Instead of a person going and looking with their eyes and writing it down and going back and typing it in. And so it replaced some of those people. It depends on, I always think about the whole, the Dutch people throwing their shoes, to sabotage right into the gears of the machine, because when are we gonna see people start sabotaging things related to AI, taking their jobs? You'll have to hit some kind of threshold. Right now, we're still too low. People are like, oh, well, too bad, or I'm getting unemployment. But when will we hit the threshold of enough people losing their jobs because
oh my God,
my personal experience, and everybody's seen this. How many times do you show up with just any kind of technology in your whole career to a customer, and the CEO loves it and all the executives love it, but guess who doesn't love it? When you go talk to the boots on the ground who actually are going to work with it, and they go, instead of being excited, they go, because they immediately see that it's actually going to eliminate their job. And what do? They try to kill the project, or they sabotage the project, or they slow it down, or they go, well, we're too unique. It's not going to work for us. I've seen this 1,000 times. When we were doing the vending machines at Real-Time Data, the executives were loving it. You know who sabotaged it? The route drivers, who we were making more efficient because it made it too efficient. And so the route drivers were pulling plugs out and sabotage our gear, our devices in the vending machines. And it's because they saw what was going to happen. We need fewer route drivers to replace candy in machines. It's all the same thing.
And it's going to be
worried about AI is going to be more exponential, right? That's the thinking, or the fear, potentially exponential. I don't know.
It's going to be much easier to sabotage.
Oh, yeah, that's what agentic AI is for.
I mean, prompt injections, super easy. There's already, I haven't done the test myself, but I've seen people that, put some specific language in their LinkedIn profile to hack the AI agent that scan for jobs.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's prompt injections.
Yeah.
Well, there's also clothing you can wear so that you're not visible by like AI vision cameras and stuff. Special patterns that will disrupt the algorithm.
Pete, Did you just start a new textile company?
Yeah,
Pete?
that's right. Yeah, my new clothing, like Edge AI clothing line, which will have
Oh, really?
I think it's going to be a big
camouflage for
hit.
AI vision.
It's going to be a big hit in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I want in on the IPO.
The new type of camo. Yeah,
right.
camo.
Yeah. So how was Taiwan, man? How was
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was like I spent a week in Korea and a week in Taiwan.
Oh my god.
That's
awesome.
It was awesome. I got back last Saturday morning at 5:30 in the morning. I landed in
Oh, brutal.
Wow.
That's tough.
But it was great. It was my third time in Taiwan this past year, so we're building a lot of community there, and it's really a global hub for what's happening in tech over there. So it was good to be there, and we just missed a typhoon. We had a 2-day event there, the Edge AI Taipei event, and like on the typhoon was coming up from the Philippines. Everyone's like, "Oh, we might have to close down the building or whatever."
Oh,
You mean your Edge stuff couldn't predict that?
Yeah, that's one thing. That job will never get replaced. Weather predictor, apparently, no matter how many supercomputers.
Well, talking about trust, the weatherman. Talking about trust,
like
Leonard,
the day before, they're like, "Well, it might be a typhoon."
Your master argument about trust, Leonard. Can you trust
the day
the
of the
weatherman?
thing, the sun came out the day of the thing. That when the typhoon was supposed to hit, I'm like, "Is that weather forecasting? What's happening there?" So we missed it.
Maybe not everybody's going to get fired because of AI too. Then
That is
the
true.
weatherman doesn't get fired.
No, the weatherman never gets fired.
But I'm telling you that if you can't trust the weatherman human or you can't trust the weatherman AI, some CEO is going to think that the weatherman AI is cheaper.
You know what Bob Dylan once said? You don't need the weatherman to know which way the wind blows, right? So
Yeah.
Genius.
That is genius.
Good line,
isn't it?
I was, speaking of
Stating the
weather.
obvious.
Speaking of weather, I found something disconcerting. Ginger Z, who's a weather woman on, I don't know, ABC or one of them, she did a little video that I just happened to see. And she's like, "Hey, people in Houston, just so you know, you've only had 79 days below 80 degrees this year." And I was like, ugh, that doesn't sound too good.
Really?
If I was in Phoenix, maybe that would seem normal to me.
Well, welcome
I don't know.
to Texas. Welcome to Texas.
No, but just 79 days where the high was under 80. That's kind of scary.
I'm waiting for some local news outlet to create a fully synthetic AI generated weather person to do the weather. I think that would be an interesting experiment, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
I know what they'll make. It'll be like
yeah, unfortunately, I think we know how that's going to turn out.
if you watch a weather woman on the Mexican news channels, you'll see what you'll end up getting from AI.
Checking it too.
Holy crap. Oh, by the way, Bitcoin hit 80,000.
Yeah, it's just like,
Sell.
Crash.
along with the whole stock market.
Sell.
Stock, man, I'm
No comment.
losing my ass over here.
Holy
people.
shit. It went down 25%
I mean, how high did it get? 110, 115, 119?
Under
way north.
Yeah.
No, a lot. Yeah.
It's just like, I know, I was
4 and now it's 85. It went down to 80. And it's on a downward trajectory.
Well,
I was watching one of my financial shows this morning, and someone said, "I wonder if Bitcoin is a leading indicator for the stock market."
Those guys are idiots.
that makes no sense.
Listening to one, I think he's Korean.
No, but guys, it's too big.
Wall
It's
Street
too
guy.
big to fail. It's too big to fail.
Yeah. He was on, man, he was spouting out some serious BS. And then you have these guys trying to associate Bitcoin price fluctuations and movements with the AI trade. It's how are they coming up with this crap? And what I love is on CoinDesk. So I'm looking at CoinDesk right now, and some of these other sites, they have this button that says create your own narrative.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to create my own narrative. Boy,
Yeah.
I think it's everybody does in their own mind.
I got an easy button for you. It's called the book button.
Speaking of crypto, I was listening to. I didn't know as much about stable coins as I thought I did. But I was listening to a recent Moonshots podcast, and they had Jeremy Allaire on there, who's the CEO of Circle. And so that's a US dollar stable coin. I don't know if they USDC or whatever like that. And just, the discussion, because when we talk about, especially everybody and their dog talking about agentic AI, what is the wallet that agent is going to use to make purchases, to do stuff over the MCP protocols and stuff like that? And so that's kind of like their thinking is, a stable coin like USDC or there's another competitor to them called Tether, that's trying to do the same thing. And so it's like, true digital currency, not having to go through clearinghouses, blah, blah, blah.
And do you know what? But Rob, which is interesting? Do you know which cryptocurrency the criminal uses?
Solana.
The majority is the stable coins.
Well, the stablecoin is supposed to be a transactional thing instead of a store of value.
Yeah, but it's now the one that is back to the USD. You can argue that the USD can fluctuate.
That's interesting.
The idea of stablecoin is actually the true vision of digital currency because it's backed up by a more stable asset. So the criminals apparently are smarter than all these investors because they take money. They don't take it in Bitcoin. They take it in stable coins only. And that's a true fact. I mean, I've seen that from a reliable source I trust.
And
so it's interesting. Trust it.
You know what's interesting about that? Because the stable coins are much closer to fiat, in fact. Yeah. And so, all these folks that try to argue that Bitcoin is the actual currency are wrong. Because if it was, you wouldn't have this movement toward stable coins, right? Fiat backed. Basically, it's fiat backed crypto. Right.
Even though they hate fiat currencies and they're railing, it's the rage against the machine, and we're just we're the woman in the Apple commercial swinging, smashing the.
But it's always a consequence of simplification. The thing that people hated in fiat is the fact that it's centrally controlled, not the fact that it's stable because it's backed up by an asset. So that's why you need to decorticate. We always go back to critical thinking. You have to decorticate. What is it really? What's in fiat? Yeah, the great thing about fiat is that it's backed by a tangible asset. The bad thing is that it's centrally controlled. I want to eliminate the centrally control, but I don't eliminate everything.
But that's why if you critically think about this stuff, you realize that fiat is what has the real value. Of these crypto things are just constructs. They're just instruments. They're not the actual thing that's valuable. And so they're like derivatives, right? And so early on, when you looked at what the crypto community was doing to pivot out of all these failures and con jobs, you realize that they're trying to, you heard about the layer 2, and then they probably have layer 5 now. They're just layering on more abstractions to not only scale this thing out, but to make this thing look like something that it isn't, and allow people to actually leverage this thing in a way that makes it look more like a security, right?
Yeah.
This problem.
I heard that as things are getting weird, that at least Tether, which is a bigger one that backs, does the stablecoin, is like stocking up on bars of gold or silver or something right now, because, the whole talk track was, and Jeremy Allaire, it's funny, my tie-in to this guy who's the CEO of a circle is because back in the 90s when I was when the web took off, right? And we were doing web pages, and the early tech Microsoft had was active server pages. And VB script and stuff like that. Yeah, I know. I did it. But Jeremy Allaire actually created a development tool called HomeSite. And so that's how I knew his name. Yeah. And so me and a lot of people use HomeSite to develop ASP websites and stuff like that. So anyway, yes, shame on me to being such a Microsoft guy my whole career. I apologize in advance or retroactively, whatever. IIS, baby. Yeah. But yeah, he was talking, he was like, hey, you're right. As we all know the story, the US currency was always backed by gold in Fort Knox and in New York. And then after spending so much money, during the 60s on, the Vietnam War and a bunch of other things, President Nixon's like, we don't have enough gold to back our currency anymore. A lot of people think it was an arbitrary thing to get off the gold standard, but it was like, it was weird. It was almost like rational economics for a change, which we don't have today. And it was like, we don't have enough gold to back the US dollar anymore. And so we're going to create fiat currency where we're just going to now say the dollar is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States. what I often tell you, and I've heard other people say similar things, it's backed by ICBMs. Other people will say it's backed by the fact that the U.S. military can just take out anybody. And so there's no such thing as America defaulting and, oh no, it's over for us. It's like, suck it. That's the difference. It's not like wheelbarrows full of cash to buy a hamburger. And so, here we go. And so it's funny to see these crypto guys stocking up on gold
Yeah.
to try to create the illusion that there's something backing their
that's
crypto.
right, yeah.
Well, in the case of stable coins, it is a viable model. If you back it up with assets, it actually, as I said earlier, it actually realized the idea of a digital currency.
Yeah, but you don't need it. Well, not really. It's a form of digital payment.
Currency as a way of payment. Let me rephrase.
Well, you have the wallet. That is one of the elements of the payment mechanism, right? And so this is where people get payments confused with currency. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a currency that you're dealing with. It could be just an instrument that you're making a payment with. But at the end of the day, because one of the guys, somebody on LinkedIn challenged me on this. I asked them, well, can you buy In-N-Out Burger, a double with extra veggies and fresh onions with Bitcoin? He goes, oh, yeah, of course you can. He sends me this wallet thing. But the funny thing is, in order to buy anything, you still have to translate it into fiat. You pay in fiat.
Yes.
Right?
So what I'm curious about is I would love to try an experiment. My wife will not like this idea, but if everything goes well, we're supposed to close on a house next week, right? And so that's exciting. But I was like, I wonder if I could show up at the closing and say the closing costs, the down payment, all that stuff. I wonder if I should show up and say I'm going to pay for that with a stable coin. And I'm going to use crypto to pay for it because, all these guys are all talking a good game. They're raising all this money. It's supposed to be the new way, So if I believe them, it might take some research. I'm not going to try it, obviously.
We have a bunch of tulip bulbs in the back of our pickup truck here. We could pay with those too.
Tulip bulbs.
They used to be worth a lot.
Yes, they did. So it would be interesting.
You should maybe set the price in Bitcoin. Wait a little bit, and at the last moment,
I know
it's going down.
Yeah. Oh, I got a great deal on my house, or I got a bad deal.
Put an offer in Bitcoin.
Yes.
Settle it, and then say, wait. Go down.
Yeah. I mean, we always flash back when we thought Bitcoin was going to be a transactional money when people bought pizza with it. Little did they know that it's actually like gold bars instead. Yeah.
Or tulip bulbs.
Or it's probably more like tulip bulbs than gold bars, yeah.
It's more tulip bulbs.
That's true.
Yeah.
Can you buy tulip bulbs at Costco? Because I hear you can buy gold bars at Costco, which I thought was
bet you
wild.
can buy tulip bulbs at Costco. I'm sure. There's lots of
Can
them.
you imagine? So, everybody knows the experience.
They're right next to each other on the shelf.
They're right next to each other on the shelves. The experience when you're walking out of Costco and you got your receipt and the guy looks at it and signs off on it. Can you imagine walking out with your bars of gold in your hand? And he's like, yeah. And then, the minute you walk out in the parking lot, a bunch of guys just jump all over you and run away with your gold bars.
Well, Costco on a Saturday at the original Kirkland store is quite the adventure. So
it is an adventure.
Original Kirkland.
Funny.
Actually, when I was in Taiwan, I was in line at the airport, and there was a guy there from Taiwan, and he had an older gentleman, and he had a Kirkland hat on, Kirkland signature.
Oh, I love it.
And he asked, "Oh, where are you from?" I said, "Actually, I'm from Bellevue, Washington. I actually shop at the original Costco in Kirkland." And he was like,
It's magic.
It's like going to Disneyland. I'm like, not really.
Even autograph.
No, but he was that. I think that made his day that he met someone that went to the original Kirkland's.
You should have given an autograph and create an NFT for it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Retirement plan.
I've been using Costco as a gauge of how well the wine industry is doing. And I think I've talked about this on the show before. Costco is the largest seller of spirits and wine in the United States by a wide margin, as it turns out. But when I started noticing at the Kirkland, the Issaquah, the Woodinville Costco's that we used to have like 3 big sections of wine, and now it's getting smaller.
Is it?
And and so it's, you can tell there's
I
the
should,
decline.
maybe this is an offline, but I should get your take on some of the Kirkland Malbec and some of the other Costco wines there, because
Some of them are pretty good.
good.
The champagne, the Kirkland champagne.
Yeah.
I pick Kirkland champagne over a lot of $60 bottles of any other champagne you can find.
Exactly. If you want to trigger Dimitri, just say Veuve de Clos.
Oh yeah,
Veuve de Clos.
this is my least favorite champagne. Yeah, you guys, the Americans have an obsession for Veuve Clicquot. It's not a bad champagne, but it's very average.
It's because it's been marketed to them, and they think there's something special about it, and there's not.
Having said that, the high-end edition Grand Dame is really great. But that's twice the price or 3 times the price.
Right. You'd rather just stick with Tattinger or something else, right?
Yeah. In the US?
Yeah.
Kirkland
Champagne. All right. You heard it here.
Really?
French connection.
Holidays.
Some of the, and I think I've said the story, I may not say the story on the show, but some of the Napa Valley ones, they actually, when I moved to the US 2007, they were not recognized. The Moom Napa, the Tétanger, the Roderers, they were like $20. Nobody would buy them because everybody was buying Veuve Clicquot. You know, and now they're higher in price, but they are very good in quality. I mean, I like the Tétanger, the Napa Tétanger. I like
I'm totally going to Costco today, and I'm going to get some Kirkland champagne. I'm excited about this. It'll be good to try out over the weekend. Yeah,
it's not equivalent to a Cristal Roderer or to a high end, but I mean at $29, it's really a great deal.
I think my coolest, most bizarre Champagne experience, when my wife and I were driving through Champagne, and we pulled over to get gas, and it was literally like a truck stop in France. And you go into, and I know what I expect a truck stop interior to look like. And there's just this whole wall of the most high-end champagne on the planet Earth in this truck stop, and like near Epernay or whatever. And I was just like, wow, we're in a different world. This is amazing.
It is actually fairly common on the highways when you stop for gas. They always usually have a regional shop where you will find local produce. Yeah. And because it's not touristic, usually the deals are good because it's the normal people that stop there and they buy stuff. Now, some of them are a little bit fancy. If you go to near Chartres or near touristic places, it's crap. But in the middle of nowhere, you always have a small little shop, and there will be some good products over there.
Right. Absolutely, it's all good. Yeehaw! Woohoo!
Yep.
Wow, it feels like we've run out of things to say. It's like a bad relationship with your AI girlfriend when she stopped talking, you know?
So when you go to Kirkland, you go to Costco and you buy some Kirkland champagne that you're doing
what you do.
Own because, we need to create that. We need to create the AI girlfriend that can actually drink champagne. Like an IoT, that's an IoT device. You're an IoT device. So when you're talking to your AI girlfriend, you have actually an IoT things.
That's right.
Drink champagne.
Physical AI, you know, that's what Pete's working on. You know, physical AI.
Not that physical.
Not that physical.
Totally
not Olivia Newton-John physical.
There you go.
Yeah.
By the way,
the music.
By the way, Pete, congratulations, because Edge AI Foundation is like, and everyone's talking about it. So,
what happened?
Yeah, you guys. No, you're doing a wonderful job, man. You and the team. It's really awesome. Everyone now wants to attach themselves to Edge AI Foundation. So, congratulations, dude. I mean, seriously, it's pretty extraordinary what you've done.
Yeah,
it
is.
Now, I remember when we were in front of you for being the CEO of a company of like 2 people.
Well, according to some of those new AI predicators, this is the future. With AI now, you can have companies of 1 person.
There you go.
By the way,
1 person unicorn.
1 person unicorn, $1 billion.
I have this secret sarcastic thinking that the easiest job to replace with AI is the CEO job.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're probably right, actually.
This is the thing.
I think so. Seriously.
The problem is it's also a democratizing technology, just like Bitcoin. And so it should allow a company of anyone to become a scaled out company of one. But at some point, everyone's just going to be noise, and there's going to be a few companies that deliver old school stuff like quality, value, that become the signal. And everyone else is just creating noise, right? Junk products, junk services, like junk content, right? Think about all the content that gets produced that nobody watches or consumes, that doesn't deliver any kind of end market value. In fact, it's fabricated and manufactured so that some companies can make ad revenue, more ad revenue.
Right. The content. Ad revenue.
Yeah, it creates the illusion of advertisement.
Right.
So, it's just going to be a whole bunch of crap, scaled out crap, that's going to create slop. Is that the proper word now? Slop?
AI slop.
Not AI shit. Is that like
I say slop is a little better than
slop. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not as offensive. It's like saying the network is the computer, or the journey is the destination, or whatever.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's probably big enough that it needs
It's all slop.
It's all slop. It needs its own word. We should create a new word for
Well,
that.
we had email spam, and now we have AI slop. So then
AI slop, like email spam.
Is the metaphor. But you're right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's becoming the standard for it, right? But,
But just like companies came out with spam filters, maybe we should come up with our own slop filter. Yeah.
That's
like a startup.
Instagram
Slop
filter.
Slop AI.
That's already happening. So think about all, the
AI.
Yeah, multiply the self-inflicted energy crisis with another one to filter out all the slop so that people actually get valuable content instead of all the slop, right? It's
Slop.ai domain is for sale.
Yeah, but it's already happening. Telcos
Pick it up.
$1 million.
Yeah.
Just send some Bitcoin. Use this to buy it with a stable coin. It'll be fine.
Noisy lives.
Yes.
Crazy.
All right.
Rob, you want to take us out?
It's been so lovely spending time with all you gentlemen today. We've learned so much. We've really raised and lowered the bar around AI, dragged it through the mud, and it's kind of sloppy now. But it's all good stuff, And this show wouldn't be nearly as interesting without Dimitri just stirring the pot and just railing against the machine. And that machine would be Leonard Lee, who's railing against. That's usually his combatant partner, But luckily, Pete showed up to chill everybody out, because obviously Pete's just knocking it out of the park with Edge AI. And so it's all good. But it's good spending time with you. I'm sorry that Bitcoin is collapsing and the stock market. Maybe people are buying into, maybe it's a bubble thing. I don't know. Jensen's like, it's not a bubble.
Go buy some champagne. Go buy
some champagne. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we recommend to all of you for the weekend. Go to Costco, try out Kirkland champagne, and give us your insights. We'd like some good reviews. And on that note, arrivederci, and we'll see you on the other side. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Oh my God.